So most likely this would happen either in February or March. And what would happen is that the ruler of a great empire, which I decipher to be America and Trump, would take out a leader of a weaker nation. But the fourth prediction is about a country whose name is mentioned as China. That country, along with Russia, would artificially create a natural disaster. And this would be to specifically to target America. So, hi, my name is Vinita Pande, and I'm become an expert in the Nadi predictions. And I also do past life regression and spiritual coaching, amongst other things. I've had a background in IT for many years, and I live in the Bay Area, and I have a family here. Recently, I have been talking more about the Nadi predictions, so I can get more into that if you wish. Yeah. So in addition to 2026, I started getting predictions, and then, like I said, I started corroborating information from many of these other people's Nadi leaves. And what I have seen as a general pattern is that there would be calamities and wars in the future, especially from 2025 to 2030 specifically, but things would sort of table out around 2030. And things would start to change from after 2030 to about 2032. Now, I haven't had predictions that go beyond 2032. And what I feel are these cycles, these karmic patterns that repeat over time, right? Where there is a buildup of some negativity, collective karma, and learning lessons that humanity has to see through contradiction, through suffering. We only seem to learn lessons and become better human beings when we go through suffering, right? And you can see what happened after COVID. We started asking deep questions about life, and it made us more compassionate as humans. And so I see sort of the same pattern repeating again now in the years to come. But I have full faith, and I'm very optimistic that we'll come out on the other side with a better world, with more awakened people, and we'll build a new and better world. So, the Nadi predictions that have come since July of 2025, I have received a lot of Nadi predictions, and so have many other people. So, suddenly from July of last year, a lot of predictions have started coming in my leaves that I go looking for. And there are many, many different types of Nadi chapters. And one of them is a Q&A chapter. And I go and ask questions about the world, and I get very detailed answer about what's coming. So, for example, for 2026, these are some of the predictions that have come in the Nadi leaves. One of the predictions that has come is that after February 15th, approximately after February 15th, there might be some sort of internet outage or cyber warfare or internet virus that would be unleashed that would affect America and its allies. That is one of the predictions that has come in one of the readers that have told me the prediction about 2026. Another reader that I went to and asked the question about 2026, it talked about a political conflict that will happen when Sun meets Saturn. Now, this could either be when Sun is in the house of Saturn or when Sun conjuncts Saturn. So, most likely, this would happen either in February or March. And what would happen is that the ruler of a great empire, which I decipher to be America and Trump, would take out a leader of a weaker nation and put false blame on that leader and use his power and his attitude of being superior and take out this leader. And in response to that, that country that is whose leader has been taken out, backed by that country's supporters, for example, if something happens in Iran where the Iranian leaders are taken out, then it might be backed by China, but they will attack America's allies. For example, it could be Israel. So this would happen in the time frame of like February and March, where there would be some political conflict. Now, this could be direct conflict where there's attacks, but there could also be indirect conflict, which uses some technology like a virus or other forms of technological warfare. That's another prediction. The third prediction is about an undersea volcanic eruption that would happen when Sun, Moon, and Jupiter are together in the same sign. And when I looked this up, this would be on August 12th, 2026, which happens to be I believe it's a lunar eclipse, and it is a new moon night, August 12th. And when that approximately in that time range, give or take, 1 or 2 weeks, is when there would be an undersea volcano near a country whose ancient name is Yamato, and which happens to be Japan. That was the third prediction that has come from one of the Nadi leaves. And the fourth and more serious prediction is it talks about soon after this undersea volcanic eruption, which won't be terrible. It won't be, devastating or take out huge amounts of people or damage. It happens, the Nadi said, yes, these kind of things happen, but it won't be cataclysmic. Cataclysmic. But the fourth prediction is about a country whose name is mentioned as China. That country, along with Russia, would artificially create a natural disaster. And this would be specifically to target America. But the country that will be affected the most would be Japan. And it also talks about, whether it's this undersea volcano or whether it's this artificial event that's created where China might say, oh, it was just a volcanic eruption or something. But somehow using satellites or technology or some sort of vibration or sound waves or something advanced, when they would create this natural disaster, it would also involve toxic gas. People would find it hard to breathe. And I have heard other predictions where people would have to stay inside their homes and shut the doors and windows. Now, the Nadi leaf did tell me that you can warn the world, but not to put people in fear. This is to being told to the world so that I can tell people to prepare, perhaps by getting masks that filter out toxic gas. But the other thing that Shiva, the Supreme, has stressed in the Nadi leaves is the message that you must send out is that of prayer, of faith, because God always listens to those people who are pious, who are spiritual. And when you pray, the magnitude of these calamities will greatly reduce. So, our responsibility is always to pray for the betterment of the world, however you wish to pray, is to put out those intentions and share compassion and be a good human being. And by doing all these things, all the good people of the world, all the spiritual people of this world can reduce the suffering and reduce the effects of these calamities. And the last prediction that came was related to India. And it said that when India, what is the current name, India, if they change that name to Bharat, there would be a lot of perhaps war, similar to like Mahabharat, and there would be problems related to conflict or war if and when India changes the name to Bharat. It also mentioned an undersea volcano near Indonesia, perhaps, that would again create some tsunami. Again, this is not cataclysmic, but it would affect the southern shores of India. So this would be widespread, but it's not going to be, again, a huge devastation. So there's a lot of predictions that I got about 2026, as you can see. Yes, I think the next 5 years, especially the next 5 years, but it could be the next 7 years. So I'll take a broad brush and say perhaps from 2025 to 2032. And this correlates to a lot of the Vedic astrologers because, I follow Vedic astrology. And the astrologers have been saying similar things as well, that and the nadi leaves that I've found for myself and many other people, they all say that a lot is going to happen in the next 5 years. You can think of it as a cleansing, as a settlement of karma, which is necessary because you see, anytime there is momentum buildup, or when you shrink a spring, the spring will react. So it's like that, the pressure is building and the pressure has to let go. So there are many details that have come up, which I can uh, cover at some other time. But I have been writing a book, and this book will be published this year. The book's name is Return of the Rishis, and in that I'm going to detail out all the predictions that have come with a timeline of what will happen over the next 5 years. But just as a preview, there seems to be something significant that would start happening from 2027, which is next year. And there would be some political upheaval in America in 2028, some political changes, something would happen. But there'll also be a nationwide calamity, which the government of US will find it hard to tackle. And it'll create a committee to handle this national disaster. So something would happen in 2028. It also told me through another person's Nadi who the next president of the US is going to be. And I can tell you just briefly that this president that would come would be from the Republican Party, and his family is not like a Caucasian, not of American descent. They probably immigrated here. So he's a child, or he's from immigrant parents probably, but that's what it said. So it's not going to be a white Caucasian that would be the next president. So it also said that there would be a change in leadership of the Republican Party in 2030. Now, just to tell you some milestones, 2028 is the US elections. So a change in political scenario could be the elections or something else. I'm not sure what it points to, but the inauguration of the president should be in 2029. So I don't know why it said that the head of the Republican Party would change in 2030. So I don't know. These are kind of vague things that were said, but there were something specifics that were mentioned as well. And those are some of the predictions that have come. But 2028 seems to be a major year for certain calamities. And then other people's nadis have also mentioned certain calamities happening in 2029 and also around 2030. Now, these are all probabilities. Nothing is fatalistic and nothing is set in stone. So these are not deterministic. And with, again, the more people pray, the more people become spiritual, less calamities and the effects of these calamities would happen on the planet. So it's also our responsibility. We have the free will to create a better future. It is, like I said, it's not fatalistic. So if we move towards becoming a better human being into love, compassion, and service, we won't have the worst effects of what is to come, is my feeling. And I'd also like the viewers to understand that there is also positivity rising in the contrary, because like I said, the Nadis have also said that a lot of people will become more and more spiritual, and many people will attain enlightenment in this lifetime. Yeah, I'm so glad you brought this up. So I'm very fond of this latest book that I published. It's called Dance of Duality, and it's the life of a Kashmiri woman. Her name is Lala, and her name is based on a Kashmiri mystic, Laleshwari. And she struggles through life in trying to find her purpose as well, because she was born very evolved soul. So she had a lot of mystical experiences from childhood, but being born into a more conventional Indian family, she also had to lead a very pragmatic, practical life. So she did go through all the things that we go through, like going to school and college and getting a job and getting married. But in parallel, she was living a very private spiritual life, which was full of these spiritual experiences that I've described in the book. And the conflict or the duality is that the world seems very negative, or there's conflicts in the world, and there is a lot of systems that we don't like, or leaders whose opinions or actions we don't agree with. And Lala also faces these same challenges where she's seeing all this negativity in the world, and yet she and her uh, spiritual peers start to build a new beginning, almost, because it talks about a future that's yet to come. But then I go into the future in this book, and I describe how old systems fall, which do not work, which are not sustainable, which are not good for humanity, and how Lala and a lot of spiritual people start to build a new conscious communities from the ground up. So the duality is in that positivity and negativity and falsehood and truth, and that is what I have uh, portrayed in the book. Definitely, I think that we are ancient souls that have come back to serve humanity, and we are bringing back some ancient systems, sustainable systems. For example, in my Nadi, in my ancient palm leaf message, I was specifically told by Shiva, the Supreme, that I need to bring back these ancient systems of living naturally, eating organic food, living chemical free lives, and not having pharmaceutical drugs by going back to organic farming, leading a life which is based on more purity so that our systems, our bodies, our minds get purified. And the way that we lived in the ancient world was so connected with nature. See, when our bodies are pure, then our mind will be pure, and then we can evolve into purity. And we have strayed very far away from that, where we've become very artificial and chemical based. And I feel that this is it's a return of the ancient in the new age, right? So it's a return of the light. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that you go away with a more positive message and go away inspired. And I wish you the best. And please come back and follow this channel and watch more videos like this. Take care.